I felt so hurt. I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you, man. I was like, damn, why I gotta deal with this shit? Like, can I really put up with this shit for the rest of my life? Like, damn, like I'm being real, babe. I'm be real with everybody. I was like, damn, I guess it's because since all the dirt I did to the women back in the day, this my karma.
Get drunk, take drugs, fuck love. All I wanna do is fuck. Get drunk, hot planes, all us. Oh, you ready?
If you could actually sing, it would really turn you up even to another level.
Wow!
But I'm glad that your dancing makes up for your lack of singing capabilities. You are an amazing dancer, so I'm glad you can at least do something, baby. Because if you couldn't do nothing, that would be terrible. But I love you either way, even if you couldn't dance.
That's what you were thinking about. Hello, gods and goddesses. Welcome to the Black and Abundant podcast, where we are talking all things personal development and how we can really elevate our people in every area of their life.
Yes, sir.
We are your hosts. I am Nia. This is Jamal. You can follow us at our respective platforms. I am at by Nia Love, BYNIALOVE, and Jamal is at the Alka CEO, THEALKA CEO.
There we go.
Boom, boom. And before we go ahead and dive into the topic, of course, we are full-time entrepreneurs, so I got to go ahead and plug all of the things that we've got going on.
Yeah.
So first of all, follow me. I am a relationships and mindset influencer. So go ahead, again, follow me at By Nia Love. If you like the shirts that we got on, they say Goddess Energy and God Energy. You can find them at the link in my bio, or you can go to lovethehopedealer.com, where you can also book a consultation with me. So if you need help in the areas of growth or in relationships, go ahead and book a consultation with me. I will happily take you in. Also, if you have anything plant-based, holistic healing, if you want to know how to properly structure a business, he is your guy. He just dropped an ebook on that last week. So big props to you, babe. You've been out here doing the thing. But you can go ahead, go to the link in his bio at the Alka CEO, or you can head over to alka.pro. He also does consultations. So if you want to switch over to a plant-based diet and don't know where to begin, you're trying to lose weight, you want to get your health in order, he is your guy. So go ahead and book.
For sure. And even just to add on to that, even if you just want to learn how to get your mind right, just mindset stuff. Specifically for men, but also women too. But the men out there that just want to take themselves to another level, higher level, in different areas of their life, specifically, number one as a man, but also in regards to health and even financially, hit me up, because we're on to something right now.
Right.
And we're definitely looking forward to opportunities to serve and give back and impact our people. But you must know that if you pay, those that pay, they pay attention. So it's not even about the money with us. Yes, the money is important, but it's what you're going to receive on the back end of that money. So you have to have the mindset of investing into yourself, because that's what we're currently doing now. And we want you guys to have the same mindset and do the same for yourself, because you believe in yourself and you love yourself enough to do so you can go to another level. So, yeah.
And on top of that, we're doing the investing. So a little background on who we are and why we started this podcast. This is actually the first ever episode.
Let's go.
It's been a long time coming. You guys kept asking us for it, so we just went ahead and gave it to you.
Yep.
And we don't ever want to seem like we know everything, because that is not the case. We have mentors that we pay thousands of dollars for. We put ourselves in the same rooms as millionaires. We are full-time entrepreneurs ourselves, so we are constantly fine-tuning our skills. And also, on top of that, we just want a happy, healthy relationship and life and mindset. So we are constantly educating ourselves with books and other people's podcasts so that we can gather that information, apply it to our own lives, and then bring it back to our community. So this is what this podcast is about. We are not know-it-alls by any means. However, I can say that we have put in the time and the money and the energy into executing the different tools that we've gotten from other people and their experiences and their knowledge and their wisdom.
Yeah. We understand that ignorance is our worst enemy. That is our enemy. And the more we educate ourselves, the more we, quote unquote, get lucky and put ourselves in the best position to win. But it's because we're taking the initiative to execute, put ourselves in the right environment, in the right position, being right around people who have success in the areas that we are looking to gain success in. It's really simple, but at the end of the day, it takes you to make the decision to take initiative and believe in yourself. Like, we don't know it all, but we're doing the necessary hard work to put ourselves in position to get the information so we can be successful. A happy relationship, that takes work.
It does.
I realized that, like, yo, that shit takes work. You're not born with the tools and the right information. You don't know it all. Like, finances, wealth, that shit takes work. So we are doing the work to put ourselves in position to win. We're asking you guys, not asking, we're inviting you guys to come along on this journey with us. Come along. We're going somewhere. This is a journey. Follow along on the journey with us. As we go somewhere, you guys can go along with us too. That's what we're doing here.
We on our way to $1 million and building a foundation that we can build a marriage and a family upon. So as we learn, we bring in the keys back here for you guys.
Facts.
So the topic today, we are talking about how we are essentially fixing our sex life in our relationship. How to really cultivate a healthy sex life in your relationship.
Yeah, and as she's saying that, we're currently in the middle of figuring that shit out. And we have recently crossed milestones, like hit new levels within our sex life. That has been a recent game changer for us. And we just want to share our prior experience before and just the new revelations we came across recently and how that has truly impacted our life and what we're excited about doing going forward. So while we're in the moment, we just want to share it with y'all. So like, this is real. This is some real transparent stuff right now. So why not share it with other people?
Right. Exactly. So just to give you guys a little bit of an outline of what we're going to be talking about in this podcast, first we're going to go over just our own personal experiences with sex, how our mindsets were really molded around this topic of sex. But then we're going to go into how sex is currently viewed in society and what it really should be and how we can go about shifting our mindsets to be towards something more healthy. And then we're going to go into how we have incorporated some of those ideals and that mindset into our sex life to honestly have the mind-blowing sex that we now do have, which is great. And of course, we're still growing. But we just had a major shift that we just had to share with you guys. So let's go ahead and just start off with where we began. You want me to go?
Will you please do the honors, my goddess?
Okay.
You're so funny, man.
Okay. Oof, you can't look at me like that. Whew. All right. So I want to first start off by saying that sex has been painful for me since I lost my virginity. I have had such a fear around sex for 24 years.
Wow.
Ever since I found out about sex at like the age of 3, I've had such a negative connotation around it. So I guess you could say that's 21 years. Anyway, so where that began, which if you grew up in a black household, then you can probably relate to what I'm about to say about my story, is that sex was not really talked about in your household. Anytime sex was talked about, it was some type of fear that was placed into you so you could be afraid of having sex. Like, you were just told, no, that's something bad that you don't do. That's something that grown folks do. You don't need to know nothing about that. You're going to get an STD and die. That was pretty much sexual education in a black household. Or for men, wrap it up and don't get nobody pregnant. That was the extent of our education from our parents. And for me specifically, at 8 years old, my mother sent me to a church. And there was a retreat where we slept in sleeping bags on the pews and we sung songs about abstinence. And that was about it. And then you get to high school, and during health class, you have that one class where they talk to you about the different STDs. This is what chlamydia looks like. This is what herpes is. And they pretty much scare you into ever wanting to have sex because they show you those pictures and you just think that you're going to die.
It's wild to think that y'all actually had a class on that. We didn't have nothing.
And that's probably the case for most people. You pretty much just have to learn from experience.
Yep.
And in high school, I had this fear of penetration. And I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18 years old, and I was already in college by then, which I will get into that. But before I even got to college, before I even lost my virginity, I had a fear around penetration because I was scarred when I was in middle school. And let's just get into the story. So I went over a friend's house, and we're not racist here. We're just pro-black, and we just tell it how it is.
Yeah.
I had white friends. I grew up around white people. I went to a predominantly white school. I always had this image in my mind that white people were better until I got to college and I got around black people and was like, oh, here's the truth. But that's another story for another day. Either way, I went over my friend's house. They were white. And it was just, we were just all hanging out as girls. And they were like, let's go swimming. And I was on my period. So I was like, I'm on my period. I can't really swim. I didn't bring a bathing suit. And they were like, you can borrow one of mine.
Hell no.
I was ignorant. Okay, I was ignorant. Anyway, they were like, you can borrow one of mine. And then they told me about tampons. I had never used a tampon ever before in my life. And they just sent me into the bathroom with one of their tampons. They had one of the ultra ones, too. It wasn't like the skinny beginner tampons. It was one of the fat ones.
Wait, how old were you at this time again?
I was like in 8th grade. So I hadn't even had my first kiss yet.
Probably like, what, 14 maybe? 13,
yeah,
14?
13, 13 maybe.
Okay.
But yeah. So they sent me in the bathroom by myself with one of these ultra tampons. And I was in there for like 20 minutes trying to figure out, like, I had never even touched my vagina before. I had no idea.
You were so innocent.
How that thing worked down there. I had no idea what was going on. And I was trying to do it, but I just couldn't do it. And I was getting upset. Like, I was crying. I was getting frustrated. And one of my friends walks in and she was like, let me help you. Let me do it. Again, my black people are probably like, what the fuck? Yeah. But this is what happened. So I sit up on the counter and I'm like full gynecologist mode, like legs propped up, spread open, and she shoves the tampon up me. Oh. And yeah, that hurt. I mean, as you can imagine, it hurt. But then she didn't put it in all the way. And for my women, you know how that feels. Like, it hurts when you don't put it in all the way. For my men, it's painful. If you walk, it's just rubbing up against the walls and it's not fun. So that was my first experience with penetration. After that, I never went back. I still can't wear tampons to this day.
Yeah. Like,
that's completely scarred me.
I can imagine how that scarred you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so when I got to high school, and even though I wasn't having sex, you experiment. For those of us who didn't just jump out the gate running, you experience little things, you play around with like handsy stuff or like oral or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I was playing around with that in high school. And anytime that a guy tried to finger me, I was terrified already. So I would close up and that would make it hurt even worse.
So going into the experience, you already had it in your mind, like, you felt really bad and negative, like you were just already tensed up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And everybody knows when the vagina clenches up, like anytime for women, anytime that we don't want something or we don't feel comfortable with something going inside of us, the vagina contracts. I have to be completely comfortable with somebody in order to fully open up, or else it's just going to be a painful experience for me. Right. So I was having painful experience after painful experience like that. And I got into my mind, I thought I had something called vaginismus. If anyone has ever heard of that, I Googled it. And that was about the extent of my knowledge. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought that my vagina was just going to always close up and always contract when it came to sex.
So that's what
vaginismus? I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
That's what it means?
Yes.
Okay.
Like it just closes.
Okay.
So that's what I thought that I had. So I thought I had a problem. So I could have had sex in high school, but I was just terrified to. So when I get to college, I lost my virginity like the end of freshman year, and I was in a relationship, and this was my first real boyfriend, and he was very abusive. And this is probably something that we'll cover in later episodes, but I was in a very abusive relationship, and it wasn't just physically abusive, but he did put his hands on me, but it was also emotionally abusive and sexually abusive. Because, I mean, if you think about it, I was in a place where I was like, okay, if I give him what he wants, then he can't be mad. You know, if I make him nut, maybe he'll calm down. You know, if I keep having sex with him, then he won't have a reason to be mad at me. So now I had this toxic idea of sex as in using it as a way to protect myself, as in giving in to what a man wants just so that he doesn't hurt me. And that could be emotional as well, giving a man what he wants just so he won't leave me.
Damn.
Exactly. It was just a toxic situation all around. And then we go into my second partner, where we were talking about this the other day, but in order for a man to really like please a woman, he has to make her feel emotionally safe and loved and important. And this guy made me feel super important and loved and sexy, which is something that I had never felt before. But when we were done doing what we were doing, he was absent. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm not going to text you every day. I'll talk to you every now and again. Apparently he had a girlfriend the whole time, and I didn't know. So now I'm in a place where I feel like, damn, the one time that a man is really catering to me is not even real. Like, am I even capable of real love? Am I deserving of real love? And then you get to the next guy who he loves sex, wanted to have sex all the time, every day, several times a week, several times a day. And I was already afraid of sex. I already had a negative image around sex, but I felt like I had to give it to him. Like I had to please him in order to keep him, or else he was going to go get it from somewhere else, which he ended up doing. He ended up having a sexual relationship with my best friend's roommate while we were dating.
Damn.
So you just have negative experience after negative experience.
Question.
Yeah.
Was he aware that you had such a negative connotation around sex?
Probably not, because I didn't even know.
Ah, okay.
I just thought that something was like wrong with me because nobody talks about sex. As women, it's not like we just gather around like, yeah, sex sucks. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to admit that we're not getting wet like we supposed to, or like we're not pleasing our man. Like, nobody wants to talk about that.
So you just pretty much suffered through it.
Yeah. Suffered through it. And however many partners later, and now I actually fall in love with a man that's sitting right here, and we can't even have comfortable, pleasurable sex because I'm closed off mentally and emotionally to where my body just won't even open up or relax.
Damn. Yep.
Which is something that we're definitely going to get into, and how we were able to conquer that, how we're currently conquering that. But as you can see, I just have a long history of painful experiences with sex. Even though I can only count my partners on both hands, okay, I did have a lot of sexual experiences because I was in a lot of long-term relationships. And I can say that 90% of those experiences were painful for me.
Wow.
And that's sad.
That's dang. Yeah.
And that was all because I was uneducated, because nobody sat me down and talked to me about sex.
Uneducated. That's it.
So, babe, talk to me. What was your experience like?
That's one hell of a journey, babe. Got to give it to you. Well, in regards to my experience with sex, I must say that the streets taught me about sex. The streets, got to give it to the streets. I don't think I ever told you this, but my introduction to sex and just the view of how to have sex with a woman was through porn. I got introduced to pornography at the age of like 8 or 9.
Wow.
9 or 10 or something like that. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I had a childhood friend, I'm not going to say his name, but you know, we'll play. He was maybe 3 or 4 years older. I think he's 3 to 4 to 5 years older than me at the time. And he has a younger brother as well. And I would go over to his crib, you know, we just kicking, chilling. And it was just a random day, did not know what was coming, didn't expect this, just a regular random day. I'm just a kid on the block, ready to go play some basketball and live a kid life. And I go into his house, and I go into his door, and as soon as I walk through the door, there's a computer, and what's on the computer is a porn website.
Wow. You haven't told me this.
Yeah, I just literally thought that. I pushed it back, but like, damn, I need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And that right there was the introduction to just going on a curious journey of sex and what this is. And on this porn website, I was seeing images of naked women and them having sex and what they're doing and things of that nature, which I pretty much never really saw before.
Yeah.
And I told you once before, like how as a kid, you know, I've come up in a religious household and the sex was never talked about. Didn't talk about why sex is important or none of that. It was just wait to have sex until you're married, or don't shack up with a woman, don't be with a woman, live with a woman before you're married, because that's against the Bible, that's against the religion, and you're going to go to hell. It was like that type of, it was fear-based around sex.
Yeah.
So, but that left me curious about it. Like, why is it so bad? Like, why can't I? You know? But yeah, back to being over my friend's house, like, yeah, that was my introduction, and just seeing that left me like, man, like, what is that? And it awakened something within me. And
Dang.
one thing that I've never really just opened up about, and I'm glad I'm talking about it now, but porn was such a stronghold over my life all throughout my teens, as a kid, teens, college years, even up until recently. Let's say maybe to be honest and transparent with everybody, I really never got a grasp on like getting away from porn and removing it away from my life maybe until like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I still have experiences where like I have those urges to want to just watch porn and stuff like that. Just being real. But my understanding, I'm growing and I'm becoming more aware of like the downside of just being deep into porn.
Yeah.
So I'm motivated to tackle that and get rid of that, because it's holding me back from being a better man. Because what that has done to me, that has warped my view of sex, and it also warped my view of women. And how you should have sex with a woman. Or this is how a woman wants to have sex. If you do it this way, this is how, like, this how you know you're really getting in it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was my introductory to sex. And then also, as well as this, when I say the streets taught me, you know, just being in an environment of boys who didn't have the blueprint themselves. Pretty much they were into porn as well. Like, yeah, they was into porn too, and they just learning from what they watched off these porn sites. And then them not being brought up in an environment to where they have a good father figure in the home and a motherly figure in the home to just teach them what sex is and how to go about it properly. You know, like none of us had the blueprint. And you have a bunch of boys in a hood that's basically looking to the streets to find love. You know?
That was a word right there.
Yeah, looking to the streets to find love and realizing that the streets was what really messed up everything for them. So I ran to the street because I had a void within myself. I was looking for something. And I was thinking if I go about it, if I do the things that make me seem cool amongst my peers, which was have sex with women,
Yep.
have as much sex as possible so I could be deemed as the guy with the girls, get my numbers up, like smashing all these women so I can be viewed in their eyes as like, yeah, I got the hoes.
Yeah.
Not really understanding what that is doing to me as a man, what I'm doing to my future self and my interaction with women, and just how to overall be a better man in this area. It was really messing me up, but I didn't see that far because I was just so focused on it now, not having a game plan, not having a blueprint, not knowing what the hell that I'm doing and how it's really hurting me. Also in that process too, being bound and chained to porn. Like when I tell you, like this porn thing had really attacked my life. It was like every day masturbating out the wazoo. I'm talking about 3 or 4 times back to back.
How?
Like every day, every other day. Like I thought about it all the time.
Yeah.
It was such an addiction.
Yeah.
And y'all, like I said, I'm being real with y'all. And as I'm speaking, there's gonna be some men gonna be like, damn, that's me too. Cause I know. I've had conversations with other men.
Yeah.
Like this is some real shit. Like the porn industry is really, really messing people up, messing their sex life up because it's giving them a negative image of what sex is and what it should be like.
Yeah.
And that is a whole agenda in itself. Like that is a planned thing. They're monetizing off of your psychologically, your psychology and your emotions. You know, and they understand that like it's all for money or for profit, but it's doing such a horrible thing to our community. And not only just the porn, but just like listening to the music, the rappers not telling you how to go about sex in the right way. They're telling you how you should treat a woman. You hear it in the lyrics. So on top of my parents being quiet as hell about sex, coming from a religious background, you know, so all those things played a factor. So, but, you know, as I grow up in life, I still don't have this blueprint. So I just had this mindset, like, sex is a selfish ass thing. It's to please me, like, not really value the woman for real, because I see myself as better than the woman. So I'm not gonna go, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just here to please myself and not really understanding that, hey, it's not about you and this experience here. You know, and I took that mindset now through high school, just I was a hoe. And then going into college, I still had those hoish ways. Yeah. You know, it wasn't really until a couple of years ago where I started to really change my mind. Like, yo, bro, you gotta understand, this is somebody's daughter right here, bro. Like, be real with yourself. How would you feel if some other dude...
You have like 1 minute.
And we back. And we back. But yeah, I had to have a conversation with myself like, yo, how would you feel if somebody was doing this to your daughter, bro?
Yeah.
You're not really truly valuing her in the way that she needs to be valued. Just really taking her for advantage because he wants what's between her legs, but not really understanding like this is a whole human being right here. Like, yo, that thing between her legs is the most sacred thing. That's a portal. This is the portal that gods and goddesses come through. That's sacred as fuck.
Yeah.
But that wasn't I really just didn't start thinking in that matter until recently. So yeah, that's pretty much my experience with sex, and like I'm still figuring it out, babe. But I made some strides though.
I definitely think that that's a wonderful segue into how society views sex, because you touched on that, like how the media views sex, how porn is put in place in order to mess with our psychologies, and how you're just taught to disrespect women in your music. So obviously we know that there is some trauma around sex. Just as a whole in society, there's a lot of trauma around sex. We all feel very shameful when it comes to sex and we don't talk about it. For women, we feel very shameful for having sexual partners. For men, they feel very powerful and filled with clout the more sexual partners they have. And there's just this very disgusting thing around virgin women that is just glorified, that really makes me uncomfortable, and I feel like makes everyone uncomfortable, especially when we no longer have our virginity. We're seen as like dirty or like as hoes for engaging in sexual activity, when in actuality this is what we're human, this is what we do. I was saying that there's this anime that I'm watching currently, and I honestly had to have a conversation with myself and like stop myself from watching it, because for some reason they just kept glorifying virgins. Like, this man gains power, but he only can use it when he has a kiss from a virgin maiden, or this vampire only wants the blood from virgin girls, or I'm so excited to take her virginity. Like, there's this very uncomfortable feeling around the purity of women, which I think is just a bunch of BS, and it was used as a way to keep power and control over women. I mean, you can look at the history of just women and men in general, and how women didn't even really have a say in anything until like 150 years ago in the first place. Even then, we still aren't seen as equals in society with men. We live in a very patriarchal society that is meant to keep women down and meant to keep men, in particular the white man, in power. So this only trickles into sex, where women feel like sex is only meant for the man. Like, sex is meant to please the man, so we're not so concerned about our own pleasure. We're afraid to speak up about our own pleasure because no one has talked about it. Nobody has taught us about it. We don't even know if it's supposed to be pleasurable because we're too afraid to speak up and say that it's not. So there's just this whole agenda behind sex not being a topic of conversation.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn, that's deep.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that, but that's facts, you know. Well, I guess I can touch on that a little bit. That we have to look at the whole agenda behind this. Why is it set up in a way to where sex is, well, when it comes to the woman, we know that this world is a male dominant society.
Yeah.
When it comes to the people that don't look like us, we know what we're talking about. It seemed as if they just devalued the woman. They did not glorify the woman. They saw the woman as less than. They shamed the woman, and they only just used women for the thing, just for sex.
Yeah.
And
babies.
Yeah, sex and babies. But when you study ancient African history, you go back like deep. Man, we glorified the black woman. There were times where it was just a matriarchal, what's it called, matriarch? I'm sorry, matriarchal society where the woman was dominated. She was first.
Yeah.
And there's so much power in that. Because the black woman, man, when you really think about it, the black woman is so powerful. Y'all hold so much weight in this world. And especially when it comes to us, like, you have literally the portal that brings gods and goddesses, I said this before, into this world. That's extremely powerful. Like the Ankh, what is that? Life. That right there says it all. Like, we glorify the black woman, but somewhere along that journey, we've allowed people that don't look like us to tell us who we are and write the history books for us. We don't know who we are. And not trying to, like, not to get too far away, but we have to also understand, like, we don't know how sex is really supposed to be. Because number one, we don't know who we are. We live in a society where it's not for us. We have been stripped away from our culture, everything.
Yeah.
We've allowed them to define us. So we're lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
And then you want to add on religion on top of that too, that that damn sex before marriage. If you have sex before marriage or have a baby before marriage, you going to hell.
Yeah.
That's all fear based.
Yeah.
But yet, sex is one of the most powerful things in this society. Sex is what literally tears down empires.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Why not dive deeper into that? You know?
And now that you know what sex is not, obviously we see that there has been this terrible agenda around sex. What is sex supposed to be? What is it supposed to be like?
I'm gonna just be real. Like, I don't want to speak like I just know it for sure what it's supposed to be like, but I'm just gonna speak in terms of what it's supposed to be, what I think it's supposed to be for me and in our relationship.
Yeah.
Going forward. So are you saying you want me to start off?
Yeah.
So what is sex supposed to be like? For me personally now, man, it's wild to hear myself talk like this. I never thought I would get to this place within myself and in life that where I would be viewing sex like this. Cause like I said, I come from a background where I was literally a part of a gang back in high school, a crew, when we called ourselves SG Smash Gang, where we glorified, we received, what we wanted more than anything was clout. The more women that we smashed, the more clout we got. And that was our goal. We did not value the woman at all. And I'm so ashamed of, and that was just me back then, like, thank God for growth. But yeah, but now what is sex to me, what I think what sex is? I believe that sex is a very beautiful encounter with the woman or man or woman, the guy, the goddess that you're with. That's a very intimate encounter for you to give love. It's a selfless encounter, not selfish. It's a very selfless encounter of you to give yourself to the person that you love and show that person through sex that, like, hey, I'm here with you. This is counter for us to build and bond and connect on so many different levels, spiritually, most importantly, bring our souls together and go deeper with each other.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm here to give my love, to show you how much I appreciate you. Like, I want to get in that thing, like, let you know, like, this all for you. Like, here, I want you to feel protected and loved. Like, you deserve that. Let me show you how much I appreciate you, how much you deserve this dick. I'm sorry. let me show and appreciate you how much I just want to get in that thing. And like, I value this portal so much. I understand, like, what this is right here. Like, this is such a very important thing right here. I want you to know I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to go deeper with you.
I love it.
And this is a very beautiful encounter to do so.
Yeah.
It's not about me. I'm here to please you, Queen.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. And with that mindset, like, of course I'm learning more and more how to go about it through education, and I also just have a conversation with you understanding, hey, what is it that you like? What is it that you need? What will make you feel more safe and understood in the bed? Because we now know that, like, sex is actually a good thing when you use it in the right context.
Right. So what's the right context?
That's a great question.
So I believe for women that it puts us in a place where we are open to receiving. One thing that is plaguing the Black community and plaguing our Black women is this idea that we have to have everything in order, that we have to carry everything on our back. We got to take care of the husband and the kids and the house. Hell, even the finances at this point. We got to take care of everything in the household that we don't even know how to be taken care of. And that trickles down into the bedroom where we don't know how to receive. We're so used to giving, and you think that's not going to show up in the bed? So for women, I feel like for me, sex is an opportunity for me to allow myself to be pleased.
Ooh.
But also men have to understand that sex is a lot about pleasing the woman as well. And in return, as you please your woman, she will be more open to pleasing you. But if you don't put the woman first, then it's going to be a horrible experience for her. You might go ahead and get you 1 or 2 in, but she's not gonna necessarily have the best time.
I just had this thought, Queen. And for the men, it's very important outside of the bedroom. You have to do your part of making sure that your woman feels safe as much as possible. Because if your woman doesn't feel safe, number one, she's not going to really trust you like that.
Yep.
More than what I've learned through you, and thank you for you teaching me. I'm a student when it comes to a lot of things in this relationship. I've grown so much, and we've grown helping each other. But one thing that I've learned and started to really value is just the importance of making you feel safe. Because more than anything, the woman wants to feel safe and secure.
Yep.
And if you're not doing that outside of the bedroom, she's not going to feel safe in the bedroom. So even before we get to the bedroom, I'm making sure, like, okay, I need to make sure my queens feel safe on all ends. So when we get into that bedroom, she's open to receive, you know?
And that goes for everybody. If your relationship is not doing so hot outside of the bedroom, what do you think is going to be in the bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might have quote unquote mind-blowing sex, but are you really making love how you're supposed to be? Are you really getting the full benefit out of having sex with your partner if your shit's not together outside of the bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
So the perfect container for, I feel like, sex, I don't even necessarily believe that sex has to be in marriage. And I can speak for you in saying that you don't either. I believe that there are marriages out there who don't need to be having sex. Like, sex doesn't need to be in their marriage because they don't have their shit together outside of the bedroom.
Right.
Like, I feel like sex should be used only in the sense of elevating the relationship that you have with your partner. If you are having sex out of a toxic situation, if you are having sex in order to feel loved by someone, in order to fill a hole inside of yourself, if you're using sex as a means of power or for clout, if you're using sex in a toxic way, like I was in trying to please my man so that he won't be upset with me, I don't want to have sex out of fear. I don't want to have sex out of fear or lack or negativity, out of trauma, abuse, none of that. If you feel like you're having sex from one of those places, then you do not need to be engaging in sex. I'm not saying you got to be married to that person, but you need to be healthy at the very least.
Right.
This person needs to be fueling you in other areas outside of the bedroom. I'm personally not a fan of casual sex. That does nothing for me. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, I see sex as something that is meant to be shared with the person that I love. If there's not intimacy involved, I don't enjoy it. And I'm not shooting down anybody who's engaging in casual sex. If that's your thing, do your thing. More power to you. But my view of sex is so much, I guess, fine-tuned now to the point where I cannot see sex in a casual way. I see it as an opportunity for me to bond with my man. Mm-hmm. So first of all, if you want to heal sex in your relationship, you need to make sure that your relationship is in order. That's the first step. Because when I came to my man and I was like, hey babe, sex sucks.
Oh my God.
And we could talk about your ego in a second, but I had to come to him and be like, babe, sex sucks. And it has nothing to do with him per se. Like, nothing wrong with his stroke game. He good down there. But it had to do with how we were going about it and our mindset around it. And me overcoming my traumas, him helping me overcome my traumas and creating that safe space for me so that I could open up to him. So, babe, you want to talk a little bit about how you felt when I communicated that to you and what we did moving forward?
Oh, sure. I felt so hurt. I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. I'm gonna be real with you, man. I was like, damn, why I gotta deal with this shit? Like, can I really put up with this shit for the rest of my life? Like, damn, like, I'm being real, babe. I'm be real with everybody. I was like, Damn, I guess it's because since all the dirt I did to the women back in the day, this my karma. I'm like, damn. But at the same time, I looked at it as a beautiful opportunity for me to level up within myself and gain my understanding of you and what we need to do to overcome this obstacle. Because we're in this beautiful growing relationship and it's going to go to different levels, but it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I understand that now. Like every obstacle that comes our way, I remove obstacle with the word and switch it with opportunity. I had to really go through that process. Like, nah, bro, this is just an opportunity. This is just an opportunity. Okay. And I started to go through a process of like, okay, damn, what is it? What's really going on here?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not me, then what is it? And it was through that process we were able to really open the door to the issues, the deep-rooted issues that's what's really going on here. And also, I would like for you to kind of, expound on what we fell into.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, like, yeah, my ego was kind of hurt a little bit, and I was kind of concerned, like, damn, can I really put up with this? But then after I took some time, like, I took a day to,
I remember that.
yeah, like when you told me, I kind of like shut off and shut down a little bit.
Yeah,
I was like, good night. I'm gonna roll over.
Yeah, I was about to say he turned his back to me. That's how you know it's over.
Yeah, like I was like, okay. But I woke up the next day and I was literally really like pondering on that. Oh, that okay. Nah, bro, this is not time for you to run away from this shit. Like, nah, you in this together. Figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like, as a man, it is your responsibility. If you saying you locked and loaded with this queen, figure that shit out, bro.
Right.
And figure it out together. So go through that process of like, okay, what is it? Let's have a conversation. And we just started having more conversations like, hey, what's really going on? Mm-hmm. And that's when you really just started to open up to me about your past issues and your experience and stuff like that. And through that conversation, I had my revelations of like, oh, okay. And then we came across a documentary that really just opened the lid to our mind, that really just brought a lot of comfort and just peace to not only just for me, but really for you. It brought that peace of like, oh, I'm okay. I'm actually okay. Like I'm not the only one that's dealing with the issues that I'm dealing with. It's really nothing wrong with me. Yeah. I just need more understanding of not only myself but my body, but what works for me. Yeah. And when I got clarity on, okay, this is what works for her. This is what she needs. On top of, as well, like the whole thing of you was telling me about how, and even with the documentary, kind of just co-signed that as well, that she needs to be warmed up. And warming up can take 45 minutes to an hour, give or take. Like foreplay, and foreplay comes in, many different ways how you want to go about it. But it took me on a journey of learning you. Like, what is it that you need to feel safe? Really, that's the warming up part.
Yeah. She
needs to feel safe, ready, and open to receive this beautiful encounter. She just can't jump into it like some women can just jump into it. That's deal, but are they really having a beautiful sexual encounter for what it really is supposed to be? Like, are they really getting what it's really meant to be in that moment? Or are they just having sex? Yeah. No, we ain't just having sex. Now, this some deep shit.
This is a divine interaction.
This is a divine interaction moment with my goddess. Yeah. And going through that mental shift is what really opened the lid and took us to that next level. So it was through that where I just started to gain more clarity, So yeah.
And women, let me speak to you for a second, that your man cannot please you properly until you understand how to please yourself. That documentary that he said gave me so much peace, and it's called Pleasure, and it's on Netflix. Like, hands down the best documentary I've ever seen, because it opened up my mind around sex. It gave me so much peace because, like I said, I always felt like I was broken. I always felt like I was doomed to have painful sex. I feared of the day that I was going to have to marry and be in a marriage where I am solely responsible for pleasing my man sexually, and I don't like sex. I was absolutely terrified of that. But hearing that documentary, and we watched it together, it just educated us on the fact that a woman does need to be warmed up. It educated us on orgasms and what that even means. Like, I saw an Instagram post before I watched it where she said, if you had an orgasm, you'll know. And I was sitting there like, damn, have I ever had an orgasm? I guess since I don't know, I guess I've never had an orgasm. But when I watched the documentary and she explained what an orgasm scientifically is and like what happens, I was like, oh, okay. I've had orgasms. That's great. Orgasms aren't just squirting, or it's okay. Most women don't orgasm from penetration.
Yeah.
That blew my mind.
That was a big one.
That blew my, because I really thought I was broken because I've never been able to orgasm from penetration. But hearing that, this is, again, go watch the documentary, but hearing that most of our nerves are in our clitoris and that's how we orgasm, and that orgasming from penetration just means that they're hitting your clitoris from the inside. I was like, okay, I'm not broken. I'm not the only one. But watching this documentary and just getting educated on how the woman's body works, that is what really jump-started our sex life. And again, I never really understood masturbation for women. Like, as little girls, masturbation is like frowned upon, but for little boys, of course, it's encouraged. It's just seen as something that boys do. But for women, I did not know what masturbation was until I was in 10th grade, and my girlfriends were like, "Oh, you've never masturbated before?" I was like, no. So, I had to go home and try it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Even then, at 24 years old, I'm still learning what I like and what I don't like. But I allow my man in on that conversation. The important thing is that you're not afraid to communicate with your partner about what you do and don't like.
Major key.
Like, it sucked having to tell my man that I wasn't enjoying sex with him, and I haven't been enjoying sex with him in the year-ish that we've been together, right? So, of course, that's a hard conversation. And sometimes it can be difficult in the bedroom to have those talks, especially when you're in the moment. But it's super vitally important. Now I've gotten to a place if something hurts, I'm like, babe, can we switch it up? Can we move over this way a little bit? Can you do this? But it's all about learning your own body and then teaching your man how to really please your body.
Yep. And that's very important. Like I said earlier, that's major key. And there's been times while we're having sex, like, babe, I'm a student right now. Tell me what to do. Tell me what you like and what you don't like, babe. How you like this right here?
Yeah.
You feeling that? And then she'll tell me. I'm like, okay, I'm taking a mental note. Men don't take the time to do that shit.
No.
They think that they just already know what to do, and because they've been with multiple women, they got an idea of how to please a woman. But I guarantee you, in all of their encounters, they never ask a woman, like, how is this making you feel right now? Do you like this right now?
Wow. Hey, moans don't mean nothing. She might be faking it.
Right. But I encourage men, like, yo, this is a human being who is not like other women. She's specific in her own way. Take the time to learn her. Ask her questions. You don't know it all.
Yep.
Like, even with the documentary, I'm sitting there learning the different parts of the vagina. The vagina is the whole thing, but there's different, like, the vulva, the clitoris, and all these different things. It blew my mind that women don't even know all the terminology of the different parts of the vagina.
Jamal asked me, what can I label my vagina? And I said, I think the vulva somewhere. What is that?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But that right there put a light bulb in my head. It's like, okay, if sex is going to be a continual thing in your life, bro, educate yourself on that.
Yeah. Learn
Learn the body, learn the woman, and also learn your woman. Ask her, hey, babe, tell me what you like, what you don't like, what pleases you. Because the goal here, the ultimate goal here is to have a beautiful encounter with you, and I want to make sure that I am pleasing you to the maximum.
Right. And that should be the goal in any relationship, right? You guys are pleasing each other.
Yeah.
Sex is not supposed to drain you.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is supposed to charge you. It's supposed to energize you. Sex isn't supposed to be scary. It's not supposed to be used as a means of power or force or whatever, or just a way to make sure that your man has his needs met. Because, of course, every man needs sex. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you have to engage in a sex that's painful or uncomfortable or unwanted.
Yeah.
So the biggest key that I want to just take away from this and wrapping this up is that you have to communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. Change your mindsets around sex. Go watch that documentary, Pleasure on Netflix.
Facts.
Start to reprogram your mind around sex, because that is going to change the trajectory of your sexual relationship within your relationship.
Yeah.
Right? And I also want to say, and this is just a little tidbit that is a little bit personal, but what really changed in our sex life was that one time that he really sat there and took his time with me.
Yeah.
Like, kissing me places I ain't never been kissed before, touching me in places I ain't never been touched before, doing things he ain't never done before. And let me just say, just because you give somebody head, that's not all the foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the only thing that's in foreplay, so get that out of your head, right? No pun intended. But anyway, it's not just about oral. Mm-hmm. Foreplay is kisses, it's touches, it's bites, it's tickles, it's, hey, if y'all are into that BDSM stuff, like if y'all are into role play, get creative and get open-minded in your relationship. Yep. We've already had some conversations about some things we want to try out.
Can't wait too.
And that's great, because that's going to make our relationship, our sex life, more exciting.
Yep.
So, wrapping it up, just be open-minded with your partner. Don't be afraid to communicate, and just educate yourself on your own bodies, both of your bodies. Men too, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to explore your own body as well.
And before we wrap it up, let me speak to the black man out there. I am challenging the black men out there, bro. We have to do better as men, being a better example for not only other men, but also for our women out here. Like, if you're like me, you come from a background that where you just have been with multiple women to receive clout, and because you just like sex and things of that nature, but you're not truly valuing the black woman, that is doing so much harm to our women, and that's also doing so much harm to yourself, because you bringing in a lot of, when you have sex with women, you're inviting things that you cannot see into your life. Like, sex is deep, it's spiritual. Whatever that she has within her, it's latching on to you.
And vice versa. Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that stuff. But also, like, we got to do the work to unprogram, unlearn, and relearn, because what we see on TV, the rappers, pornography, literally is defining how sex should be and how you should go about it, when that's not the case. So I'm encouraging you, like, yo, do your homework, study. If you're with a queen right now, take the time to learn her. Understand, bro, it's not about you. It's not about just pleasing you. Man, you got a queen on your side. Value her. Understand, like, man, she gonna make your life so much better if she knows that she's a queen and she knows why she's here and what the path that she's on. She gonna turn you up. Do the due diligence to educate yourself, learn her, ask her the question that she needs. What does she need to feel safe, secure, and safe in the bed? And once you do all that, man, and do the hard work to unlearn and relearn, man, your sex game is going to go to another level. And also, like, yo, be open-minded to new stuff. I am just not getting to a place with my journey where I'm opening up my mind to new sexual experiences in regards to, like, just what we're gonna do. It's weird at first. It's weird at first, but when you think about it more, that shit is kind of exciting. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Do not be afraid to push the boundaries.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. Like, we're a team. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, as long as we are staying respectful and on the same page with one another,
Yep.
then nothing else matters. If both of us are down for it, who cares? Right? I'm excited to try some kinky
Damn, that's so
stuff
sexy.
with you. But we hope that this podcast has opened your eyes and is helping you build a happier, healthier relationship, not just inside the bedroom, but outside the bedroom. Of course, stick beside us. We're going to be talking about relationships a pretty good bit, but we're also going to be talking about just things that we can do personally within ourselves to grow financially, all of that. This is all about Black abundance around here.
Right.
And that means in every area. We're tired of our people settling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to do something about it.
Open your mind. Stay open-minded.
Yep. So thank you for sticking around with us. Also, go follow us on Instagram at Black Abundant Podcasts. Go do that. I forgot to mention that earlier.
It'll be in the link below.
It will. And again, I'm at By Nia Love, and he's at the Alka CEO.
The Alka CEO.
So go follow us, check our stuff out, and just continue to stay along with us.
Word up. Until next time, peace and blessings. Hell fucking yeah.
First podcast in the books.
Let's go.